The information provided in this podcast is for general informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. Listening to this podcast does not create an attorney-client relationship with Foyle Legal. For advice tailored to your situation, please consult a qualified legal professional. Welcome to WA Injury Claims Explained, your trusted source for understanding personal injury claims in Western Australia. Each week, we simplifies complex legal issues, from motor vehicle accidents to workplace injuries, so you can confidently navigate your rights and claim the compensation you deserve.
Ever get that feeling like, when you're walking and you walk right through a spider web?
Ugh, yeah.
It's like that feeling of grrr, but instead of sticky strings, it's paperwork and legal jargon.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about what happens when you get scammed after a car accident, and we're going to arm you with, the bug spray to fight them off.
Well, and I think what's fascinating about this is that it really is a time when people are vulnerable, right? They've just gone through this a car accident. Most people, it's not something that happens every day, so they're not familiar with the process, and that's often when these scams pop up.
Right. You're thinking about the damage to your car, or if you're hurt, and suddenly, bam, someone's trying to take advantage of you. So we are diving into this article from Foyle Legal. They're personal injury experts based in Perth, Australia. Now, their insights, they apply more broadly, we should say, but we are going to focus on the Australian context for this deep dive.
Which is important because obviously different legal systems can vary, but a lot of the psychology behind the scams is pretty universal.
Okay, so let's jump right into it, because the first one, this Swoop and Squat, blew my mind. It sounds like a dance move, not a car accident scam.
Yeah. Sadly, it's far from a party trick. So imagine you're driving along and a car suddenly cuts you off, forcing you to brake really hard, right?
Right.
And you might be thinking, what a jerk. But as you're processing that, another car rear ends you.
Oh, no.
That's the squatter, and they were intentionally tailgating you.
Okay, so they're creating an accident on purpose. To, what end? What's the goal here?
So the swoop car often vanishes, leaving you with the squatter, who then claims you caused the accident.
What?
They're betting that in that moment of, whoa, what just happened, you didn't catch the first car's license plate. And in all that chaos, their version of events seems plausible.
That is terrifying, because you're already trying to piece together what just happened.
Yeah.
And they've got this whole story ready to go. They're building a case against you.
Exactly. And because they planned it, they've probably got their story straight, witnesses, potentially fake ones, all lined up. It plays on the fact that accidents are confusing. Memories, they're unreliable in those moments.
This makes me just want to install 10 dash cams in my car just to be safe.
That's actually a great segue, because that's one of the things they talk about. Dash cams are becoming increasingly important as a tool to combat these scams.
It's true. Okay, so beyond Swoop and Squat, what other shady tactics are out there?
Well, the article talks about a few things. One is substandard repairs, right? So you've been in this accident, you need your car fixed, and some shady mechanics might see an opportunity to, inflate costs or even invent problems where there aren't any.
Taking advantage of someone when they're vulnerable.
Exactly. And then you have things like fake insurance calls. So scammers might call pretending to be from your insurance company and try to get personal information or financial details from you.
And those calls, those can be so convincing, right? They might have some of your actual information, your name or something, just to really sound legit.
Oh, absolutely. It's really, they prey on the fact that you're mentally juggling a million things. You're thinking about insurance, repairs, maybe even medical bills if you're hurt. And it's easy to let your guard down in that state.
So much to process.
Exactly.
So, okay, with all of this kind of lurking out there, what's the best way that people can protect themselves? Besides, I'm assuming investing in a really good dash cam for your car.
Yeah. Well, alongside that, documentation is key. They really emphasize that in the article. Think of it like building your own defense shield right there at the scene of the accident.
And not just a mental note, because I feel like those can fade really fast, especially if you're stressed out.
Exactly, yeah.
So what kind of documentation are we talking about specifically?
So as soon as it's safe, you want to be snapping photos and videos of everything, right? Damage to all vehicles involved, the position of the cars, even things like skid marks, the weather conditions, anything you can think of.
I would never even think about skid marks or weather.
Yeah.
But I guess that proves visibility, like the road conditions.
Exactly, all those factors. And if there are any witnesses, even if it's just people passing by, try to get their contact information. Having a neutral third party who saw what happened can be really valuable if you have to dispute a fraudulent claim later on.
Right. It's like having extra eyes, extra memories on your side in case, like, someone tries to twist the story.
Precisely. Now, and here's the thing, even if you feel 100% sure that the accident wasn't your fault, and this is crucial,
Yeah.
never admit liability at the scene.
Really. So even something casual, like, oh, my bad, I was looking at my phone for a sec, like, you shouldn't even say that.
Avoid it. It's best to leave it to the insurance companies to sort out fault. They're the ones who are going to investigate. Admitting liability at the scene, even if you didn't mean it in a legal sense, can really come back to bite you later on.
Wow. I did not realize it was that big of a deal legally. What if, like, the other driver's being, like, really pushy and they're trying to get you to say something?
You always have the right to remain silent. Don't feel pressured to say anything you're not comfortable with. And if you ever feel threatened or unsafe, contact the police immediately. Your safety is the most important thing.
Yes. Good advice.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say the accident happened. You managed to dodge the on-site scammers, but now you're dealing with potential injuries, right? That's a whole other level of stress on top of everything else.
It really is. And it's easy to get caught up in everything else, but obviously if you're injured, your health comes first, right? Seek medical attention right away, and then make sure you contact the relevant authorities for personal injury claims. This is where knowing the Australian system specifically is really important.
Right, and Foyle Legal, in this article, they lay out exactly where to go depending on what territory you're in.
And each territory has its own specific body.
So there's really no excuse to be left in the dark, even if you're feeling, overwhelmed and confused.
Exactly. There are resources out there to guide you. Now, shifting gears a bit, have you ever heard of claim harvesters?
Vaguely, it sounds kind of scary, like something out of a horror movie. What are they harvesting exactly?
Well, think of them like information vultures.
Information vultures, okay.
They basically swoop in after an accident and they gather details about the victims, often through really dubious means, and then they sell that information
Oh, wow.
to less reputable lawyers, organizations that are just trying to basically exploit the situation.
So instead of vultures swooping in for scraps, it's your personal data they're after. Creepy.
And lucrative, unfortunately. They then bombard victims with calls and messages, promising big payouts, easy settlements, all while operating in a legal gray area.
So how do you spot these claim harvesters? What red flags should people watch out for?
Be wary of anyone who approaches you at the accident scene offering unsolicited legal advice or asking for personal details, especially if they're not clearly identifiable with a reputable organization.
It's like you're already vulnerable and they swoop in with that, don't worry, I'm here to help act.
Exactly. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. And this is where Foyle Legal makes a crucial point. Claim harvesting is illegal in Australia. They mention new legislation making it a serious offense to solicit or pay for claim referrals.
Good. Because preying on people after an accident, that's just wrong. Okay, so you've survived the crash, dodged the scammers, dealt with the injuries. What about the car itself?
Ah, yes, the often overlooked aspect. Rental cars, repairs. It's another minefield.
Right. You're probably thinking, please, not another thing to worry about.
Unfortunately, some rental companies see an insurance claim coming and inflate costs, knowing they can get away with it.
So always double check those rental agreements, even if you're desperate for wheels.
Absolutely. And then there's the risk of impounded substandard car repairs. Your car gets towed to a shop that does shoddy work at inflated prices.
It's like whack-a-mole. Every time you turn around, there's another potential scam.
Which brings us back to the value of reputable help. Don't just go with the first person who cold calls you.
Right. Do your research, read reviews, get recommendations, just like you would with any other important service.
Exactly. And circling back to Foyle Legal, that's the kind of firm you want on your side. They've built a reputation on expertise and ethical practices.
So, to wrap things up for our listeners, if we're simplifying it down, stay calm, document everything, be wary of unsolicited offers, and don't hesitate to seek professional legal help.
Well summarized. Knowledge truly is power, especially when you might be feeling vulnerable.
Perfectly said. And on that note, we'll leave you with this thought. As technology evolves, do you think these scams are getting easier or harder to pull off? Are we more vulnerable or empowered? Something to ponder on your next commute. That's it for today's deep dive into the world of car accident scams. Stay safe out there.
Thank you for listening to WA Injury Claims Explained by Foyle Legal. We hope this episode helped clarify your rights and next steps in your injury claim. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and visit foylelegal.com for more useful information. See you next time.